time we fight, I take the bait. Every time we fuck, I can't think straight. Every time I try to walk away, I would just stay, I would just stay.
Great to finally sit down with you and chat a little bit, man.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, man. This is awesome, man. I've been looking forward to this for a while. I've always wanted to have you on the show.
Yeah, man. I've always wanted to be on the show, so I'm happy we can finally make this happen.
Yeah, dude. How's your day going, man?
It's going great, man. I'm just overwhelmed and humbled with gratitude with the release of our new single "Stay," and it's my first dive into country rock, and I've always had a heart and a passion for it, and I've been on nerves, man, for the past couple of weeks, just thinking about the release of it, not knowing really how people were going to accept it, and to see the response that it got, man, to see that it's already charting is very, very special to me. So I'm ecstatic, bro.
Yeah, dude, and it's such a cool sound too, man. It's different from anything you've ever done, right? I mean, you've never done anything like this, right?
No, never, man. But my friends will all tell you, yeah, I've heard Marcus sing country music, drunk off his ass, in the back of the bus or in his backyard or at the barbecue. But this is the first time doing it professionally.
Yeah, and you had the video. When did you guys record the video for Stay? Was that
so maybe about, I would say in August, I went up to New York and we shot the video with Tom Flynn, who's done so many amazing bands, As I Lay Dying and All That Remains, and he's done, to me, I consider him one of the best in the business, and we got to go up there and shoot this video with him, and man, it just came out exactly the way I wanted it. A little bit of metal, a little bit of country, kind of exactly what we are.
I love that because I too I love country as well, but I don't like the kind of pop country. I kind of like what you're doing. That kind of little has an edge to it. You know what I mean? It's not. It's it's not. You know what I mean? Like the whole like my truck and all that. You know what I mean? You guys are it's cool, man.
Yeah, I gotta credit Mark Rizzo because Rizzo always tells me that he's like, you ain't gonna be singing about your truck and the bar and your sister's cousin, and I was like, no, man, this has got a little edge to it. So that seems to be what everybody is picking up on, man. Is picking up the rock and the metal edge, and it's crazy to see that rock radio is picking it up, as quickly as it is, and I just wasn't expecting this, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, man. So I should introduce you, man. Marcos. How do you pronounce your last name? It's let me try it. It's Leal, right?
Exactly. You nailed it. Yeah.
That's cool, man. You come from like a metal background, and you've had several bands, but now you're trying something new right now with Swim the Curtain, right? Swim the Current. Yes, I said curtain. Holy crap, man. I'm sorry about that.
That's a cool name too, right there.
yeah, dude. If Weird Al covers your stuff, that's what he would call it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually going to use that on tour with the guys next year. But no, man, this is I've been in Swim the Current maybe for about 6 months, and it started out as something that was just like a feature. I was with Ill Niño at the time, and George had kind of came to me and was like, "Hey, I have this song," and we did a metal track, and I loved it. I loved the music. We kind of kept writing with the guys, and eventually, I just kind of came to a point where I was like, "Well, man, I really don't want to start another metal band. Like that just kind of wasn't where my heart is." You know what I mean? At the time, I was full fledged with Ill Niño, and I had plans to continue to do stuff with Shattered Sun. So to form another metal band, it didn't really entice me, but I did bring it up to George and say, hey, well, I kind of have this thing that I do and that I really want to do. And I was wondering if you guys be interested in doing it. And we started out with a cover, a Co-Wetzel cover. And I think once we did that cover of Solo and we shot the video for it, I think everybody at that point was like, yeah, we need to follow this path because it seems very special. What we had going on was very natural.
Yes, and I love that too, that you're so open to other genres of music, because I'm the same way. Like
Yeah,
I don't just listen to this one particular like metal. I like everything, you know, anything that sounds good to me, pop, country, whatever.
absolutely, man. I think with me, it's like doing it, road dogging it for a long time. Just I love metal. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
doing it as a job and then coming home and being like, oh, I just got off a 6 month tour. Let me blast some Slayer right now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's gotta be on occasion, but
No, no,
normally,
absolutely. I get what I've heard. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I've heard so many people say that metal people in metal bands like, what do you listen to? They're like anything but metal, you know, because that's my job. I have to do that every night, you know.
yeah, yeah, and kudos to the guys that are just like, to the bone metal that just, blast
Yeah.
it, live and breathe it every day. But that's country and Tejano music are a big part of my heritage and my upbringing. Before I loved metal, you know what I mean. I loved Tejano music. I loved country music. So to be kind of doing full circle and bringing with me a little bit of the metal is just not to sound too cheesy, but I feel my dad and my grandmothers and my grandfathers just kind of like with me along the way on this. And
Oh, right on. So they listen to
yeah.
this kind of style back in the.
Oh, absolutely. This was their cup of tea, their jam. Every Friday, Saturday night at the bailes, at the dances. You know what I mean? You'd hear all this music, and when I was growing up, and I got into metal, I was just like, oh, fuck Tejano, fuck country. You know what I mean? And
Right.
then and then as I've grown older, I feel it keeps me closer to my dad. It keeps me closer to my grandmother and my grandfather. So it's cool, man. It's a cool dynamic.
Dude, I feel the same way, man. My dad listened to country as well, and back then I was like way too cool for it, and now I'm like, okay, that's cool, man. I
Yeah.
love like some like old Johnny Cash, you know, whatever.
Oh
It-
yeah. I'm big into Johnny. I'm big into George Strait. You know what I mean. I'm big into Garth Brooks. I know he's got some allegations going on right now, but
yeah, dude.
we're talking about the music. The
Right,
music.
right.
I hope they don't. I hope they don't come for my man George Strait at some point, because I'm gonna have to battle the
Oh,
death for
he's the
him.
best, dude. I love listening to him now. Yeah. Do you play like any instruments? You know, I've always known you as a singer.
Yeah, no, I write all my music on just a regular six
Look
string
at that.
acoustic, and that's kind of what got me going with writing the music with El Nino, and writing the record Immortals, just kind of making parts here at home on my guitar, and then translating it in the studio. But it really didn't pick up until I started writing Was From the Current, and we started going in this direction, and everything just became way more easier and more natural. Like if I can play the song right here,
Yeah.
on my acoustic guitar, and it sound great to my daughter and my wife, then I know it's going to be a good thing.
How old's your daughter now?
So I got three daughters.
Whoa.
I have a 6-year old right now that's just in first grade, and then I have two twin 9-month-old babies. So
Oh, brand new babies.
yeah, and we were expecting a boy and a girl, and that's what we were trying for, a boy. And we did the big gender reveal and shot up two streaks of pink, and I've just been running in circles since. But
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
man, I love being a dad, man.
Oh yeah, me too, man. The three girls, man. At this point, you're gonna have to adopt a boy, you know, just to get a boy. You know?
Yeah, I know. I laugh because the doctor kind of cornered me there on those last visits, and they were just like, "Well, are you guys gonna try for a boy?" We're like, "Nah, I think we're okay. I think we're all right." And it felt like all the eyes in the room were just on me, and you're just like, "So do you want to try for a boy?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I've accepted my role as a girl dad in this universe, and I'm proud of it."
Yes. So with the band you're in now, are you gonna play like weekend kind of things? I mean, having a family, that's got to be kind of hard to tour as much, right?
Yeah, fortunately for me, I have a very, very great support system here with my mom and my mother-in-law, and my wife is amazing, with these kids, and I've been touring professionally for almost 15 years, so I think they
Right.
they they kind of understand it. But I think with this style of music and this style of band, maybe the tour riggers won't be as tough as they've been in the past. You know what I mean? 6, 8, 9 week tours. You know, sometimes 3 month tours. It's, you know, it can definitely be taxing, being a dad and missing out on a lot of things. I think that's what kind of helped me come to the conclusions that I've kind of came to over the past few months. Is, you know, I missed my grandmother's death. You know, I missed
Mm.
9 months of my dad's final 11 months. I've missed, of his
Wow.
life. I missed first days of school. I've missed birthdays. You know, it's I think you get to an age where you're like, man, you know, I don't want to miss this stuff anymore. And it kind of helped me with my decision to pursue this and maybe get out of what I was in previously.
Yeah. No, I can't imagine. I can't imagine missing all that. That's wow. That's crazy, man.
It was very tough. It's I always tell young musicians, like, because on the way up, man, it's the glitz and the glory. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you know, you're running through walls and you're playing 6 nights a week. But eventually, you know, when you climb that ladder, there's a price to pay. And the price to pay comes in missing those moments. And it really didn't hit me until I was at my dad's funeral. And I was like, man, why am I not in any of these pictures? Like, why am I? Well, you've been on the road for the past 15 years.
Oh,
And,
jeez.
you know, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but, you know, I'm also not complaining, man. My dad was very, very supportive of me, and I've got to play in front of 100,000 people. I've got to open for Metallica and some of my favorite bands all over the world, and
Wow.
you
And
know,
your dad got to witness this? Your
yeah,
dad saw your success?
yeah, he did. He helped me navigate through my first record deal with Shattered Sun. My dad was a businessman, so
Mm.
I didn't I didn't know shit about that stuff, you know, contracts and how to lead a group of men, because it's not just the band, it's the crew, you know what I mean? And I didn't know shit about that. I just knew how to get on stage and headbang.
Right.
So he helped guide me through that, and when I transitioned to El Nino, he was there to kind of help me manage, you know, the success of it, the money of it. And you know, unfortunately, he was diagnosed with cancer. But
Mm.
right at that diagnosis, I had everything lined up with El Nino to go overseas and to do all of these special things. And then this kind of came out of nowhere and stopped us all in our tracks. But you know, God rest my dad's soul. He told me that day that I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't going to leave people hanging. I was going to go do these tours and do these shows, because it's what I worked my whole life for. You know, and he watched me
Mhm.
work my whole life for. So, you know, he stood there and supported me the whole way, man. He would stay up till about 4 or 5 a.m. just to see me get on stage in Germany, or see me get on
Oh,
stage,
wow.
you know, Istanbul. And it's bittersweet, man, because I have a lot of those memories, but you know, I missed a lot of time. I missed a lot of time with him, and it still kind of haunts me to this day, man.
Yeah, man, but at least he was like he set such a great example for you, and now you're a father, and you kind of you know, it's being a dad's weird, right? So when you have kids, you know, people that don't have kids will never understand the love you have for your kids, man, and it sounds like your
Yeah,
dad had a lot of love for you.
he did, and he stood in the face of a lot of my fuck ups, a lot of me doing things the wrong way, a lot of, you know, teaching me not to be a fucking cocky asshole, and you know, all the things that come with the rock star life. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of being, you know, a part of my family, and never leaving my hometown of Alice, Texas. Is I could never really you know, go off. I'm always real grounded here with my family and my friends and my community, and it's paid dividends, you know, later. No, now in my 30s, you know what I mean. But in my
Right.
20s, I was just like, let's get the fuck out of here and go, you know.
Yeah, dude, especially in your 20s, how to stay grounded, you know what I mean? Like I remember my 20s, like how crazy it is. Plus you're like every night's a party, right? Every night's
Oh
like
yeah,
yeah, I don't see how you did it, man. Man,
it
that's
was
cool having a
Yeah, it was insane, man. But I always got those talks from my dad when he'd call me and I wouldn't answer until 11 or 12, and he was like, "You and the boys were up drinking, weren't you?" He's like, "Well, you can't be doing that shit every night. You're gonna fuck your voice up or fuck this and that up." And in your 20s, you're like, whatever, dad. And then I get to my 30s, and I'm like, "Oh man, my voice hurts, and my body hurts." And he's like, "Cause you're getting old, son. You're getting old. That's why."
Yeah.
So a lot of great memories with that guy, man. He's a big part of why I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
Man, what you're telling me reminds me of Cat Stevens so much, like father and son, man. I encourage people to listen to that song, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it's a great
so
song. Great song.
yeah, dude. But before El Nino, man, you were in Shattered Sun for a while, right? Like almost a decade. What is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So the band started in 2005. I didn't join
Wow.
until 2007, and it was like the classic story of six small town dudes. We come from an oil field town, so I guess the way it goes down here is like, you live your dream until you get, oh man, somebody's having a kid or somebody's doing this or
Oh
doing
yeah.
that. And they get an oil field job offer for $25 an hour, and you're like, fuck, man. So we kind of all hit that wall, and we made a promise to each other. Okay, look, let's give it one more year. Let's sell out, and let's go balls to the wall to try and get a record deal. And everything lined up, man. It just, we met Mike Sarkeesian from Spineshank, who played a big
Oh
role
yeah.
in introducing us to Maria Ferrero, who then signed us with Chuck Billy from Testament, Johnny Z from Metallica and Megaforce
Yeah,
Records, and
absolutely.
they took us on as their band to launch. And man, they took us from Alice, Texas, and dumped us right in the fucking Shark Tank, man, with the biggest bands in the world. And that's kind of how we got our start, man, through Victory Records.
Oh god, that's amazing, dude. Did they give you like tour support and everything? Were you guys traveling
Oh
in a nice bus?
yeah, dude. Yeah, so we had to rough it, our start. But man, I credit, because a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about Victory, and negative things to say about how things are done there. But with us, I mean, we had Johnny Z and Chuck Billy and
Oh
Maria
yeah.
Ferrero in our corner. So no disrespect to nobody there, but nobody was gonna fuck with us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and they gave us tour support. I mean, right out the gate, we went touring with Testament and Exodus, and then we were open. We were doing the Mayhem Festival, and then we went out with Soulfly, and we got to play with so many of our heroes that, like, I think they just kind of saw a Rolling Stone. They were like, "Fuck it, let's throw money on it. Let's get it while we can." But
Is that when you how you met Mark Rizzo was Soulfly? Was he in Soulfly
yeah,
back then?
so I've always been the biggest El Nino fan. I
Right. Yeah.
always looked up to Christian. I always, had so much admiration for the band, and especially for him, his vocals and stuff like that. And so when I got to tour with Soulfly, that was like what I was most excited about. It's like, oh fuck, I get to tour with Mark Rizzo. And every once in a while I'd be like, hey Mark, what about Confessions, or what about Revolution, and we'd always kick it. But that's kind of how we formed our friendship on that tour. And he's been a lifelong friend of mine, and I'm so thankful to have him in my corner and everything that I'm doing.
Man, I love that. But before you started the band, did you listen to hardcore music? Did you have somebody that I always ask this question everybody interview, by the way. But I had an older brother that kind of like I followed, and he's like, you should listen to this and that. Did you have somebody like that in your life?
Absolutely. My older brother as well. My older brother
Oh, nice.
Sam would he showed me Pantera, he showed me Slipknot, he showed me Corn, all of those bands, Limp Bizkit. But like, this was when they were first coming out, you know what I mean? And he'd still I remember he brought home the Slipknot demo cassette tape, and it just had
Whoa.
like Surfacing and Spit It Out on it, you know what I mean? And I think they played in Corpus Christi with Machine Head and Cold Chamber, and they were the
Oh,
opening
yeah.
band. So he
Oh, that's so cool, man.
yeah, and I'll never ever ever forget the day he brought home the Burning Red, and then he brought home
Yes.
from Machine Head, and then he brought home Revolution from El Nino, and I was just hooked, dude. I was that was my thing moving forward, and I went to go see El Nino and Soulfly play on a tour, and that was when I knew. I was like, man, I'm gonna fucking do that one day, and
Yeah.
sure enough, it worked out.
Did your brother want to do that too? Like, I'm gonna be a musician too.
He did. I'm pretty sure if he was sitting here with us right now, he'd deny it all day. I think maybe I had the better singing pipes than he did, but I think he wanted to sing for a little while, but it was kind of more for me, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you figure out you could sing? I mean, were you just like just playing around, messing around, and
It's a funny story because there was a group of friends that I had. It was my very first band. It was called The Spies, and I still keep up with some of the guys from here in my hometown. And they already had a singer who could fucking scream, and so I just wanted to do anything in the band. So I bought a set of turntables because I wanted to be like Sid Wilson.
yeah,
And
that's the one.
eventually, we got to a point where I was doing that in the band, and I think right around that time, everybody was getting their first girlfriend. And I remember the singer at the time, fucking, I think he lost his virginity and his mind just went, oh man, I don't need to be in practice. I need to be with my girl. And so whenever he wasn't there, I would jump in and I remember I would always tell him, I can't scream, but I can sing. And it wasn't until their sisters heard Prissy and Angie, shout out Prissy and Angie Sanchez. They heard me singing at one of these rehearsals, and they were like, "Yo, Marcus has got a really good voice. Like, yeah, he can't scream, but man, he can sing these El Nino songs and these Machine Head songs and Slipknot songs." And it eventually got to the point where there was so much support behind me that they were like, "Okay, well, let's put Marcus in the band and let him sing." And it's I knew from that moment that I was never gonna give up the microphone again. And
Really?
sure
Yeah,
enough,
you just knew it. Yeah.
yep. And I was 13 when that happened, and I'm 36 right now. So
Yeah.
it's been
It
quite a long
stuck.
way. Yeah,
Do you remember like the first gig you played? I mean,
absolutely. It's
how did that go?
it was a great story. So it was one of those nights where the singer for the band was still there, but
Mm.
he
Awkward.
showed, yeah, awkward. And I was still doing turntables. We played at a little place here in Alice, Texas called The Gambler. It was a Tejano bar. And we had no fucking business being in there, 13-year-old kids singing metal. And something happened with the singer to where he was like, "Oh, I can't sing right now. My throat." So my buddy's sisters came up and they were like, "You should sing. You're the one that's been practicing. You should sing right now." And I was like, "No, no, no." And I'll never forget this. I hid behind the amplifiers and I sat down because there was so
No
much
way.
pressure. Yeah, I hid behind the amps and I was like, I can't do it." And I remember one of their boyfriends, his name is Jesse. He came up and he goes, "You know what? If you're gonna fucking pussy out like this, here's all. Don't ever fucking show your face at the house again." And,
Whoa.
and he walked off, and
Dude.
his sisters were like, "You don't have to sing if you don't want to. It's okay." And I remember everybody left, and I was sitting there behind the amp, and I was like, "God damn it! Like I'm never gonna be able to show my fucking face again." And I went out on stage and I sang some System of a Down and some Ill Niño and Machine Head, and that was the night. Everybody was like, "Yeah, that's the guy." And I never gave up the spot again after that.
Dude, that sounds like a movie, man. It's like
It's so good, dude.
it sounds like 8 Mile, like a metal version of that or something. Like you're all
And it's
scared to
funny
go.
because they came out to one of the last shows that I had with El Nino, and we had this big moment together, and Jesse was out there, and I was like, if you hadn't have peer pressured me that hard, I would have totally bitched out, and I would
Yeah.
probably be fucking working on an oil rig somewhere right now. And we gave each other a big old hug, and I'm so thankful for those guys still.
Yeah. What a great story.
Yeah.
How'd you feel like playing like your first big show and from a lot of people? I mean, did you feel the same way? Like you got to hide behind the speaker? You know,
Uh,
where did the
well,
confidence come from, man?
you know, I still get nervous to
Do
this
you? Yeah,
day.
that's a good
Yeah,
thing.
yes, I
Yeah.
do. Every show, whether it's 50 people or 100,000 people, my knees still shake the same. It starts up like around 7 o'clock, and I
Yeah.
start feeling the nerves and I have a few of these to kind of calm
That
them
helps.
down. But yes, very much. And I think it just kind of leaves you like maybe 30 seconds into the set. But our first big show, we were opening up for Mudvayne of all bands, and it was
Wow.
Mudvayne 10 years, and it was Snot with Tommy
Oh,
Vext
yeah.
on
Yeah.
vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we opened the show. We won a radio contest to open the show, and I think we
Wow.
played in front of maybe like 500-600 people. But at the time, it was like, oh my god, everybody's family came, everybody's dad came. It was
Oh God, so much pressure.
yeah, oh man, it was so much pressure, and everybody's girlfriend was there, everybody's Theo and Thea, their aunts and their uncles were there, and it was like, well, let's see if they got it or not. Like, and I remember we totally fucking botched it. It sucked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Ah,
it was a learning lesson, man. It was like, okay, we can't ever suck in front of that many people again, so we're never leaving the practice room. You know what I mean?
right.
So it was a learning experience for us.
When you get nervous, are you nervous because of remembering all the lyrics and everything? Or are you nervous about the crowd, or is it just a combination of everything? I guess.
I think it's throughout my career it's moved, like the goalpost has moved. So like all the way back from the very beginning when I was hiding behind that amp,
Hmm.
I was so nervous that I was never going to be able to show my face at my friend's house again. You know what I mean? And then
Oh yeah, yeah.
with Shattered Sun, we signed our first record deal. Our first show is in San Francisco, and the crowd is fucking chanting Exodus before we go on
Oh
stage. So you're
yeah.
just like, oh fuck, well, now I'm being dumped in the fire, and I got to win this crowd over. And
Hmm.
then throughout moving to El Nino, replacing somebody like Christian Machado, who was a childhood idol of mine. I was nervous that, man, I wanted to give the El Nino fans everything that they remembered from back in the day, because I don't know if you really followed El Nino through the later
Yes.
years, but
Yeah.
it kind of started fading. And
Hmm.
I Shattered Sun toured with El Nino, and I could see that fire was a little extinguished, and I wanted to bring that back to the band from when I first saw them, in Corpus Christi at Concrete Street. I wanted to bring that energy and that style back, and so I was nervous about that. And then fast forward to Swim the Current, I'm nervous how are people are going to perceive me, as a country rock singer now. So it's like I said, the goalpost has moved throughout the years, man.
Yeah, and you guys are doing a great job as well with what you're doing now. But making that transition over from Shattered Sun to El Nino, was that something you just talked? I mean, you were friends with Dave and the band, and you just kind of kept networking with them, and I guess that's how you got the gig, right?
Yeah, so when I was on the road with El Nino, and I mean this is no disrespect to Chris, or any of the guys that were in the band at that point.
Right.
Like I said, I could see that the fire was kind of extinguished. So, my first day out there, I went and I told all of them, "Oh man, I love El Nino so much, and I know every song. And if you need any help, I'll gladly go sing a song with you." And they all kind of looked at me as like, who the fuck is this fucking little asshole? You know what I mean? But sure enough, a few nights into the tour, their drum tech at the time, whose name is Matt Alston, he's the drummer for Machine Head now.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
he he came up to me on the side of the stage while I was watching the band, and he was like, "They want to know if you want to sing a song with them." And I said, "Sure, man. What song?" And he goes, "The test is on." So I was like, "Oh shit, what?" I was like, "Yeah." So I had talked all this shit all week that I knew all of the songs. So
They
they
hit you with
called
a
me up
deep
on.
cut.
Yeah, yeah, they did, and so I get up on stage, and Chris kind of hypes me up a little bit, and he's like, "Are you ready to do the song?" And it wasn't until he let it rip from his, announcing it. This song's called "Rip Out Your Eyes," and all the lyrics just came back to me in that moment, and man, I killed it with them, and it was so special of a performance that they came up to me and asked me to do it for the rest of the tour, and that kind of, you know secured my friendship with them. I would sound check for Chris every show, and a couple years passed, and then I got hit up by Dave, and he asked me to if I wanted to be a part of El Nino. And initially, I had declined because I was such a Christian Machado fan that
Absolutely.
I didn't want to see my favorite band lose their singer. You know what I mean? I didn't want to see that. I actually, as a matter of fact, I was like, "There's no way y'all can work this out." And
Wow.
you know, there wasn't, and it kind of got to a point where it's like, hey, I need to take this opportunity for my family and for I had just had my little girl at the time, and Shattered Sun was in a rocky spot. You know what I mean? And I kind of jumped in it, legs first, and I to my regret now, uh, I didn't have any regard for the previous members or what transpired before I was there. I just kind of took it as an opportunity and ran with it. And seeing how everything is kind of played out now, I maybe should have uh, thought about it a little bit more, and maybe been a little bit more courteous instead of just this run through the wall cocky asshole. You know what I mean?
Well, you did a great job, and I think if you did all that, it would that could have hurt you too. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, I think you probably did the right thing. Just run with it, and just
Yeah, it was there's a million ways you can look at
yeah,
it
there
now.
is, yeah, right.
But
Hypothetically, yeah.
somebody told me recently, well, you would have never opened for Metallica.
Oh wow.
Played in front of 100,000 people. You would have never done those things. You know what I mean? And so for that, I am thankful, and I don't have any regrets about those moments. But it was a rocky end, and it's something that I still have a little bit of anger towards.
Mm.
I guess you could say resentment towards, but again, I try and balance it out and be like, hey, well, you know what? It's a great opportunity. I got to do a lot of things. I got to become friends with a lot of the bands I grew up loving. I mean, got to have a moment with Rob Flynn. I mean, Rob Flynn was my fucking idol. So like to be
I love
rubbing
Rob Flynn.
elbows.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's there would be no me without Rob Flynn, Corey Taylor, and Christian Machado. Like
Oh
there would
God,
be
man.
no Marcus. And to be rubbing elbows with those dudes, you know, made it all worth it.
Yes, dude, absolutely, man. I love your attitude with that. We like the same people. That's a
Yeah.
and just to God, man, that's one day you need to write a book about all your experiences. It sounds like, you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
older I
I've
get, I think I
thought about
should
it.
do that. You should do that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody told me the other day. Have you ever seen the movie Rockstar with
Yes.
Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah.
I feel like literally that is to the T, from them finding him to him being such a fan of the band to where he fit in so well, to where it kind of came undone, and he saw the business of it and chose to step away from it. And
So
it's almost to the T, just
really,
with my face instead of Mark Wahlberg.
so when you were in the band, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but did you bring your own ideas? And it's like, wait a minute, we got our own. Just
Yeah,
we have a format
yeah,
already.
it was and I guess I could say this now. When I first got in the band, Sangre was already, you know, ready to go. You know what I mean? So I had to go in there, but there was a few things about it that I was like, man, I would never say, am I tripping? Am I falling? Like that's something I wouldn't say. I would want to say this, or I would want to say that, or you know, I consider myself a really, you know, I won't say great, a really good lyricist and a really good songwriter at that point in my life. Even more so now, but at that point in my life, I was very confident in myself, and you know, the format was here in this little box, and you can't go anywhere here. But it wasn't until we got to the second track where I just told Dave, hey, I gotta be me. Like I have to be me. I can't come in here and be Chris. Like, you know, I could sing all the songs like him and I can hit all the notes and do all those things, but I gotta be me. You know what I mean? I gotta say things that I would say. Like there's a line specifically in Mascara where I say, choke on this and die. And I remember at the time everybody pushed back and was like, whoa, 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 that's, you know, we don't really say that. We don't really do that. And I said, well, I fucking do. Like, and this song is supposed to be angry and it's supposed to be deliver a message. Well, that's how I deliver a message. You know what I mean? And he allowed it. And sure enough, that was one of the songs that really did well for us. And, so after that, I think the reins were kind of let go. It's like, okay, this kid knows what he's doing. So, you know, I was able to write a lot more songs for the band and a lot more that still haven't been released yet.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, you guys have a full album that's finished, so that's weird, man. So when's it gonna come out? I mean, I don't mean to say it's weird. It's just weird that you're no longer with them, and then you know, and then is there a release date?
Yeah, man, there really isn't. I just know it's supposed to happen before the year is out. I would say that's a question for Dave Shivari, above all else to anybody. But my vocals are done. My vocals have been done for a long time. And when I was making the record, I made it with the fans in mind because I am a fan. I come from the early days of being a fan with Ill Niño, so I wanted to emulate that in because again, like I told you earlier, I felt like the band kind of declined after a while, and I wanted to bring back that
Yeah,
edge, that
fire. Yeah.
anger that I heard from the first records, and I feel like we did that, and I'm it's bittersweet, man. I'm really anxious for the fans to hear it because it's some of my best songwriting. It's some of the band's best work, but it's like now we, you know, can't do anything. Are the fans ever going to hear it live? I don't know. You know, I know they're not playing, you know, some of the other songs that I wrote. Are they're going to get any music videos? Probably not. You know, so what are they going to get? I don't know. You know, it sucks, but uh, it wound up being necessary for me to step away.
Mark Rizzo said he loved it. He loved the album. So
Yeah.
you know, he said it was killer. So
And you know, it was that songwriting and those tracks that helped Mark Rizzo come back. And I say this constantly to anybody. My biggest accomplishment with El Nino was mending that bridge that had been burned between the original members and Mark Rizzo from way back in the day, way before I was involved. But I knew Rizzo wanted to work with me. I wanted to work with Rizzo. We had an opening in our guitar section. I mean,
so you witnessed it all? You witnessed him returning and saw it
I
all?
witnessed it all. Yeah, and
Oh, it's so cool, man.
I was a big part of it too, man. And
Yeah.
you know, we had the live stream. This was when COVID was going on, and a lot of the OG members came out, and man, me and Mark just clicked, and we had this moment that it actually got taken out of the live stream. But so we were on a break, and Mark goes up and he starts fiddling with the acoustic, starts doing, you know, the Mark Rizzo flamenco stuff, and
I
I
love it.
hear him start playing With You, and that song is so special to me. So I just kind of went up there without telling him nothing, without nobody in the crowd or the directors or anybody knew, and I just walked up on stage and said, hey, turn on the mic. And I got it, and we did this amazing rendition of With You that literally stopped the room in their tracks. And everybody was just, holy fuck, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think one, it it helped everybody see like, okay, this kid Marcus is the real deal. But it also helps people see like, man, wouldn't this be such a storybook, you know what I mean, ending to have Mark Rizzo back in the band, you know, through this, you know, kind of second rise that we were going on, or that the band was having at the moment. And for just kind of me to be sitting in the middle and, hey Mark, come over here, and hey Dave, you know, come over
Yeah.
here, let your guard down, and you know, it happened. And one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life was Mark being stage left to me every night.
Oh god, man. I just wish that was documented, like, you know, that like some kind of monster or something, like there were cameras in there just capturing all this, you know.
Yeah, I think it is documented.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, you're right. Yeah, so it's streaming. Yeah,
yeah, because everything was filmed.
I would love to
And
see that.
yeah, man, I'm not sure what they have planned for that. I know it was the plan to take that performance and put it onto Immortals as a bonus track, but
Hmm.
again, I'm not sure how it's going to come out, what's going to come out with it. But I'm just hoping that it does come out. You know.
Have you ever been in a band like with Ill Niño? Like I'm assuming I've never met Dave. I'm friends with him on social media, but he's the boss of that band. That's what I gather, right? What was Shattered Sun like? Was there a certain boss in the band that you were? So that transition from you being in charge to now you're answering to someone else. That's got to be, you know,
Yeah,
different.
in the beginning, I loved it because I was so stressed out with Shattered Sun. I was so stressed out with the van and the crew, and so is, you know, can't do it, and the label, and you know, the tour support and the management. It was like everybody was calling me, and I felt like I could never have a day off because there was always something happening. There was always, the label always wanted something, or the management always wanted something, or the band. So to switch to El Nino in the beginning, it was such a relief because it was like, oh man, I just have to show up and look good and sing good.
Yeah, weight off your
That's
shoulder. Just yeah.
that's fucking cake, you know what I mean? But I think once the songwriting came in, and I think once I kind of grew into the role, because in the beginning, man, you know, I'll be honest with you, I was just trying to fill the shoes of Chris,
Christian. Yeah.
you know, and I say this to you, it wasn't even Chris when he left the band. It was Chris, it was like the specter of Chris, you know what I mean? The 2001 to 2006 Chris that everybody, you know, remembers in their head. And you know, I was, I don't want to say emulating that, but I was trying to fill those shoes
Right.
until I got to a point where it's like, hey, you know what? I'm my own singer. I'm my own style. I'm my own songwriter, and I need to be me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of when, you know, heads kind of started bumping a little bit.
When did you now you and Christian are you guys are buddies now because he talks good about you all the time. When did you guys kind of reconnect?
Well, I felt like I had a pretty good relationship when I was on the road with Chris, when I
Mhm.
was in Shattered Sun. And I'll be the first one to tell you here right now. Um, I said a lot of things and I acted a lot of ways towards those guys that, yeah, I'm disappointed in myself now. You know what I mean? And the anger that I had towards them, or the angst that I had towards them. You know, there's a song that we put out called "This Is Over" where I directly address them, and I look back at it now, just kind of with everything that's gone on with me, and I deeply regret it. I deeply regret being that competitive, I guess you should say. And once I left El Nino, I'm hoping that that friendship can kind of come back again, because I do have a lot of respect for him. I have sent him a message basically saying that I apologized for my actions, because I know that's what my dad would want me to do. I know that's kind of how he raised me, so I wanted to do that, and I'm hoping that it can flourish moving forward. Who knows? Maybe we'll get Christian on a country song.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. That
Yeah, I still to this day have tremendous respect for him, tremendous respect for what he's done in Lions at the Gates. I am kind of sitting in that same spot, you know what I mean, now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand, what he had to go through. And, I'm not proud of the way that I treated him, treated those guys. And I hope in the future things could be mended a little bit.
That was huge. This is huge, man. What you're saying, I love it. And
Thank you, man.
and Chris, he was like, you got to have Marcus on your show. Like he, I could tell genuinely, like I don't know, man. He's on your team. So
Yeah, man, and I'm really thankful for him, man, because I looked at him and I looked at what Lions at the Gates did, and I don't want to get into specifics, but I had a lot of anger in the way that the situation played out, and I felt like I sacrificed things that I'll never get back. I mean, like I told you earlier, I missed my grandmother's death on a tour bus, and I missed 9 months out of my dad's life. I mean, I would be crying with my dad on the side of the stage, and then boom, walk on the stage in front of 50,000 people and flip the switch as if nothing was going on in my personal life. So uh, I sacrificed a lot of those things, and the way it ended, you know, I had a lot of anger towards, mainly for the fans as well.
mhm.
I really wanted the record to be out. I really wanted them to get what they deserved. You know what I mean? So I guess kind of sitting back and looking at the way it ended with him and him kind of taking Lions at the Gates and turning them into what they are now. Uh, it inspired me a little bit to be like, you know what? I'm not getting any fucking younger here, and it's kind of like what you said earlier. You're answering to the boss,
Yeah.
and I think I needed to get back to doing things my way and living outside of this Latin metal box and taking some chances. And obviously, not to toot my own horn, but I think the first single out of the gate has gotten such a great response that lets me know that I made the right decision.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotta feel so much better too, not having to answer somebody. I mean, now you're starting fresh.
And it wasn't really, I had a really great relationship with Dave. I had a really
Yeah.
great relationship with
No,
Laz,
absolutely.
with those guys. I just think there at the end, um, I just think we couldn't work together anymore. And
Was it kind of a mutual kind of understanding? Or I mean, you don't have to answer
yeah,
that. I'm just saying,
yeah, 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 yes and no, because yes, it was mutual that we got to a point where it was like, okay, I can't work with you, and you can't work with me,
mm,
and you're the boss, and I know I am still the hired gun, but I wrote this record for El Nino. I wrote it through the most difficult times of my life, and it shows. You know what I mean? Once you hear these songs, you're gonna know what I was going through. You know what I mean? So it was very hard for me to part ways with that. It was very hard for me to. It felt like more than anything, I was turning my back on the fans, even the ones that never respected me or never thought that I filled Christian shoes. Like all I've always respected all of those opinions, and I always wanted the record to do the talking, because putting out a single, like, I know that's the way things are done now, but they're never gonna truly know me, and I felt like when this record comes out, they're gonna truly know me and know the range of my voice, and you know, I sing a lot about the same things that were sang about on the first two records. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? So, I did it kind of as a node to them, and to walk away from that and not know really when they're going to get it, how they're going to get it.
Yeah, to pour your heart
They're,
and soul into that, and then that happened.
yeah, it's tough, man. And I wasn't happy about Rizzo leaving. Um, that Rizzo was like one of my best friends. You know what I mean? All those guys were the Texas guys. They, even though we all don't speak anymore, uh, they were friends of mine way before Ill Niño, way before any of those stuff. So, I am hurt that I don't have those friendships anymore. But I was hurt that Rizzo left. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I had to kind of look out for myself a little bit, and I just kind of saw that the situation wasn't going right for me.
Yeah. Well, the good news is you got a killer new band. So
I'm very very happy about that, man. And you know what? Too,
yes.
it's I didn't think that this was going to be like what I transitioned into. When this started, man, it started as like yeah, I mean, yeah, I sing country music in the backyard or in the back of the bus or like yeah, we'll try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's ever going to be a label that picks it up. We were just writing music, and to sign a record deal with TLG Zoid and Virgin Music Group, and to have Danny Sanders really believe in the band, and take it from this small thing where we're just writing music. I mean, now we're on Revolver magazine, and we're charting on the charts, and there's some really
Yeah.
really amazing opportunities that are coming next year to be touring with some of my favorite country acts. Man, I just couldn't be more thankful. It almost feels like it was supposed to happen this way.
Oh yeah, dude. That's so cool. I can't wait to see you guys live.
Yeah, man. You know what? Straight up, we're going to be doing a lot of touring next year with some really great country acts. So you are on the guest list anytime you want, anywhere
Thank
you
you,
want. You
brother.
let me know, and I got you, man.
Oh, that means the world. So thank you so much too. And
Of
is
course.
your like are you listening to a lot more country now? Are you in that world now? Is that your thing?
Yeah, I've been, since I've been out of El Nino, I've just been doing a lot of thinking about like, well, man, I can't run out on stage and tell the crowd, move your motherfucking ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And I was working with Sahaj from the band Ra,
Oh, I
helped
remember.
me.
Yeah, yeah. Dave
Yeah,
Perry's. Yes.
so he helped write a few of these songs with us, and one incredible fucking talent that man is. Just being around him for a day, I was like, man, am I even good? Am I even a good songwriter? Am I even a good singer? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
uh, he told me, right off the bat, he was like, man, you're not going to be able to do, you know, what you're accustomed to doing. So I've been going to country shows. I have a buddy of mine who plays in Shattered Sun. His name's Jesse
Uh,
Santos. He plays in a band called Pecos in the Rooftop.
mm.
Rob, our drummer, is the lead guitar tech for Coetzel. So my love has always been there for the genre, but now getting to go to the shows and really see how these guys address the crowd, how they stir them up, how they move them around, and it's awesome to see, man. It's a whole new world for me, but I think bringing in that metal element is what's going to separate us a little bit, and I'm really excited
Yeah,
about
yeah. It brings it. You're different. That's makes it cool.
it. Yeah, I mean, I went and watched the country band. I'm not gonna say who, but they kind of rolled out on stage, and they played a song. I remember I was at the bar, and I was like, "Oh, they're already on stage already," and they were playing this sludgy song, and they go about four songs before they play a song anybody knows, and my mind instantly went to what we do in metal. It's like this song playing, ooh, the lights black out, the intro comes out, your heart
Yeah.
starts beating,
Oh
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Everybody in the room knows something's about to fucking happen right now. And then the band comes out and they hit you with a hit right in the mouth, and
Uh-huh.
everybody goes nuts. And so I'm trying to implement those things into this genre now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, I was thinking about Fred Durst when he was wearing that cowboy hat and he's like, y'all ready to break some shit? And he's doing break stuff, but he did it country style though. Like he had the anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You talk about Fred, right?
Yeah, Fred Durst from Limp
Yeah,
Bizkit. That cracked me up when I saw that live.
I
But
know. Right.
But it sounds like things are looking great for 2025. Yeah.
Very
You
much
guys gonna
looking
do
forward.
anything, any touring this by the end of this year, or is that?
Not as a matter of fact, I can't say why, but I am I'm home for the rest of the year, and I'm kind of taking this time to reflect, write music, finish up the record with Swim the Current, and I think it was necessary for me to kind of sit back and be like, all right, man, I can't jump into something else right away after the way things ended there, and
Oh yes, yeah.
so I needed a little bit of time to catch my breath, maybe let some of this anger I'm carrying around with me kind of subside and truly move on from that chapter in my life. And it sucks that, it means I'm moving on from, friendships that I've had for 15 years. I mean, that's the suckiest part of it,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move on and turn the page and move to this new genre, man. And hopefully I'll knock it out of the park here too.
You are. Yeah, yeah. I can't wait, man. It sounds like things are going great for next year, and it's good to relax too. Get a couple months off.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm gonna get to be a part of the father daughter dance this year, which I
Yeah.
miss every year, and I miss birthdays and I miss school recitals, and to be here, that's something my wife always tells me is it's so good to have you here. You know what I mean? And that I don't take for granted, man. Even though everything ended shitty,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I take pride in. I get to be here for my daughters and see my twins take their first steps and talk and say dada, and man, that's what most importantly, that's what life is all about.
Absolutely. I can tell you're happy too, man. That's great, dude. I love that.
Thank
Marcus,
you.
man, thank you for being on the show, and we're gonna do this again too, man.
Of
When
course,
next
man.
year.
Hey, next time we'll do it live.
Yes.
We'll do it from the country show, and we'll have
Oh,
some
that would be
beers in the
amazing.
process.
Absolutely, yes. Drink some
Yeah, man. Thank
cervezas.
you. And Scott, I just want to say too, man, I admire everything that you do. I've been a fan of this show for quite some time, and to be sitting here with you, a part of your amazing legacy, man, is such an honor and a privilege for me, man. I just want to say thank you for what you do for the metal community, and thank you for what you do for all of us artists, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Wow, and that means the world. Thank you so much for that. That means a lot. Thank you,
Thank you,
Marcus.
bro.
Appreciate it,
Thank you,
man.
of course, man.
Well, thank you again, brother. Look forward
Thank you,
to
man.
meeting you in person.
Yeah, we'll see. See, I'll bring the beers. I promise.
Yes, and I'll drink them with you.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, man.
Thanks,
Well, it was
brother.
great to see you, brother.
All right, peace, brother.
Peace, man.